Good morning and welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm going to make carnitas, and I'm not canning today. I'm going to make these fresh and as traditionally as I can to the Mexican recipe. I'm going to be frying them in manteca, or as it's known to us gringos, lard. And I know it sounds pretty bad, but it does add a flavor and a texture that can't be duplicated by using vegetable oils. So carnitas, of course, means little meats. We're using our pork shoulder butt here. I'm going to cut this up into 2 to 3 inch chunks. We have our spices ready to go. They're pretty simple: salt, pepper, and also a little Mexican oregano. I'm going to also use one of these heads of garlic, an onion, and a couple of bay leaves. And then after we cook this for an hour, we're going to add in some other liquids. That's going to be about a cup of Coca Cola and about a half cup of evaporated milk. And we're going to squeeze the juice out of this orange and put some orange zest in there as well. So this is going to be fun. It takes about 2 hours, not including your prep time. So let's get started. So I've turned my cooking pot to a medium-high heat, about 375. And we're going to put about 2 pounds of manteca or lard in the pot. And once we get that nice and hot, we're going to add our pork. We need to brown it. So here is our pork chunked up in about 2-inch or so hunks. I'm going to put my dry spices on now. Now, some people do not do this, but I'm going to go ahead and put my salt and pepper and my Mexican oregano on my meat before I fry it. But it's optional. You could just add all your spices in later in the cooking process if you want to, at the same time that we're going to add the orange juice and the Coca-Cola. Alrighty, so our oil is nice and hot. I just tested it with my thermometer, 375, so we're going to carefully place our pork in here. You don't want to crowd the pan. That's why I used a relatively large pan. And as I said before, I did salt and pepper my meat and put a little Mexican oregano also. We're going to let this meat simmer in here until it's brown. And it's got to be brown on every side. I've got about 3.5 pounds of pork here, and this is a 6-quart cooker. I used an extra large pot because I want to have plenty of room for this pork to brown on all sides. And I've just got, I think 3 pounds would have been just perfect. I've got a little bit more than I can easily accommodate in this pan here, but I'm gonna stuff it in there anyway, which I know is not ideal when you crowd your meat. But we've got nice hot grease encircling it, so I think we're good. Okay, so we're going to let this meat cook here till it's brown on all sides. I'm going to keep turning this pork here and get it nice and brown on all sides. So far, so good. Starting to smell nice. So at this point, our burner is on kind of a medium high. I have it on like a 8.5 out of 10. And you just want that at that high heat long enough to brown the meat. And as I'm turning my meat, we're starting to see this beautiful brown color. That's what we're after, kind of caramelized. We've been frying here for about 10 minutes. We'll probably give it another 10 minutes on this high heat. Then we'll reduce the heat a little bit for about 30 minutes or so before we add our other liquid ingredients. So after your meat has got a nice bit of brown on it, we're going to turn the heat down to about a medium, just so that it's barely boiling. And it'll take this a few minutes to, of course, come down to that little simmer point. But we're going to let it simmer like this for 45 minutes. You don't even need to cover it because the lard does not boil away like water would. Alrighty, well this has been simmering for about an hour, so now it's time to add our other ingredients, and then we'll let this finish cooking for another hour. So what we're going to add is an onion that we've cut in two, and a bulb of garlic that we've cut in two. I took 2 oranges and juiced them and got about a half a cup of orange juice. And then I also took the zest off of one of the oranges, so we're going to add this orange zest in there. And a lot of times people do throw in their orange that they've juiced, so we can also do that. I'm going to throw the one that I did not zest in here with everything else. And we've got about a half of a cup of condensed milk. And a cup of Coca Cola. So this is all kind of brought the temperature down. I'm going to kick the temperature up a little bit to bring it back to simmer again. Stir this all together and let it just kind of simmer here for another hour, and then it should be good to go. It's a strange looking concoction, but hopefully it's going to taste pretty nice. Okay, so we'll be back in an hour. Oops, I almost forgot. We want to throw a bay leaf or 2 in here. That'll add a little extra flavor of the bay. Okay, now we'll be back in an hour. Alrighty, it's been about 30 minutes since we've added our final ingredients, the evaporated milk, the Coke, the bay leaf, the onion and the garlic, the orange juice and oranges, orange zest and oranges. Lots of orange in this. You could also add lime if you like. That'd be a fun addition. Anyway, we've got about another 30 minutes. The liquid ingredients that we added in are going to cook down, and it's going to caramelize on the pork. Give it a really nice flavor. So we'll be back for the final look at this when it's all done in about 30 minutes. Alrighty. Our time is about up. I let this cook a little bit longer because it just didn't quite look quite done enough. So this actually cooked for about another 10 minutes beyond the 30 minutes that I mentioned last time we were on the video here. But it looks pretty darn good. Tender. It's starting to come apart when you squeeze it. So let's get this plated up. It looks really delicious. It smells great. Well, you know, you can't always go by the clock when you're cooking. You've got to use your common sense and see if the food looks done. If it's starting to fall apart, like when you slow and low cook something like this. And it is, because these were much bigger chunks originally and they've sort of come apart. Very nice. So we are going to have some good tacos, burritos. I may put some of this on top of the salad. We've got enough here for a couple of days, at least. So even though this is cooked with lard, you're not eating it every day. It's kind of a treat. You can make a slow-cooked version of this without the lard, but it has a little different flavor and texture. Although it would be healthier for you, I'll be the first one to admit that. But look at that. Just soft and delicious. And I've got to get a taste. Oh my, that is good. Really delicious. Okay, I hope you try this. I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you all again in the next video. Bye now. Pair this up with a little guacamole or salsa, and you have a delicious meal.